Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I'm coming back at you with another wargaming and miniature video. And in today's video, we're going to continue on with my American War of Independence project updates. And it's for Land of the Free. I'm working on 15 millimeter miniatures. And what I am displaying right here on the screen is my newest regiment. This is the Brunswick. It's a German Brunswick, part of the Hessian mercenaries, and it's Riedesel. Von Riedesel was a contingent leader for the Brunswicks that participated at Freeman's farm, the first Saratoga. And this is his regiment. And you can see I've done 5 bases. These are all Blue Moon miniatures. And the flags are Cotton Gym. This is the Riedesel Cotton Gym flags and Blue Moon miniatures and war bases. I did the 2 mil, and I've got the Vallejo European mud on there and the Knock Spring Meadow static grass. All right, so I think this regiment came out looking really good. You guys can tell me what you feel. But again, I did the front sides of the bases in black, and I did the back of the base in yellow. And the reason why is because Riedesel's brigade's colors, turnbacks, collars, cuffs, not turnbacks, just the collars, cuffs, is yellow. And the tips of the pom-poms. Yellow is kind of the Brunswick standard. Yeah, so, and Riedesel has basically the Brunswick standard. Now there's Rets and there's Spec also, and they have different color turnbacks. Not turnbacks. I keep saying turnbacks, but I mean their facing colors. Now, a little history on my painting of these guys. If you watch my live streams, I did a live stream a couple of days ago where I was painting these, and there was a discussion about their pants not being striped or being striped, and their gaiters being black, white, or using overalls, which the overalls is basically a pants that go down to the ankle and then it buckles underneath the boot. So it's kind of like a pants gaiter combo. Well, these miniatures are very distinct in their gaiters. The gaiters are very thick and above the knee. And I could have just painted them all white all the way down to their boot. And that would have been fine because that's a variation. I could have painted the pants with blue stripes, and we'll talk about that here in just a second, which is not correct. And then I could have painted the gaiters black, which I decided to paint the gaiters black because I think that gives the unit a very distinct look. Plus, it goes along with the figures that I have for the Hessians, Musketeers, and I think that black gaiters really make the legs look really good. Now, the pant colors, right? there is a philosophy or discussion on whether or not the Brunswickers had blue striped pants. And that would have been, I'm sure that there was probably a few of them that did that. But my understanding is that Molo did some research and accepted the blue stripe, and he made his painting guides or his uniform guides using the blue and white striped pants. And that caught on with a lot of other uniform guide producers, and they accepted his research as the gospel. And so there are a lot of uniform guides that show the blue and white striped pants. But as research and more data becomes available, that was debunked. The Brunswickers were very uniform in the fact that they came across with white pants and they stuck with their white pants the entire time. And if they needed any fabric or any repairs done to their pants, like I'm sure that there were some lost pants while they were here in the Americas, that would have been replaced using the tent material. It's a cotton canvas that would have been used, and they would have gotten that from the British Army. And the British Army cotton canvas tenting material is actually a white or just slightly off-white, like eggshell or something like that. So, not the blue and white striped pants that were reported. Now, this was brought up because the bedding material, like for the British, was a blue and white striped, like bedding, blankets and things. And so there probably were a few soldiers that used that material, or there might have even been a unit that used that. But in general, overall, 99% of them would not have been allowed to wear anything like that. The understanding nowadays is that it would have been white pants. So that's how I painted them. The flags, you'll notice, are yellow and light blue. And then if you come around to the drummer right here, you can see that his facings are light blue. They're not as dark as the rest of the regiment. Yeah, I think that you guys turned out really well. You guys can tell me in the comments what you think or how you feel. I have a couple of other things that I've done or at least one other thing that I've done that I would like to show off. So let me move the camera back just a little so that I can show you on the table here. All right, so right here in our little hot little hands here, I've got some range rulers. So I got some wooden dowels in, and the reason why I needed to make these range rulers or wanted to make range rulers is because I've decided that the ranges in the Land of the Free rule book are for the 25 or 28 millimeter scale. And by doing it in 15 millimeter, I needed to make the ranges smaller. And I've using British Grenadier as kind of a gauge on how they converted their 25s to 15s. I followed the same process, and what wound up happening was it turned out to be a 2/3 scale range. So if you can imagine a 6-inch measurement in Land of the Free would be a 4-inch measurement at the 15 millimeter scale. So what I did was I took these dowels and I painted them so that each of these would be a distinct measurement range used in the game. Now, I also want to point out that this is not in inches. This is in millimeters or centimeters, but super close to inches. So each of these is a 50 millimeters. So it's basically the same as a 2-inch almost. Not exactly, but it's close, right? The reason why I decided to switch from the 2 inches to the 50 millimeter was because these range rulers were sold as 12-inch rulers, but when I received them, they are 30 millimeters, which is just shy of 12 inches. And so I converted everything to millimeters to ensure that I'm able to use the entire length of the range ruler. So I decided this first piece here, this first little section, is 20 millimeters, not 2/3 of 1 inch. I decided just to stick with a 20 millimeter. I think it's a good size for movement, backwards, because moving backwards or sideways is a 1-inch measurement in 28 millimeter. So I went ahead and gave them the 20 millimeter. I don't think that 20 millimeters is going to be that big of a deal. And then the next line up is actually the 2 inches, right? So you would have a 2-inch move, which in the game would be 3 inches, right? So an infantry element that moves 3 inches. So that would be one of his many actions that he can take as a maneuver. This second one is also basically everyone going forward is 50 millimeters. So if I ever need to do a 6-inch range, that would be there. So that's 6 inches, or a charge range, right? And then the next one would be 9 inches. If there was ever a need to do 9, like cavalry would have a 9, so they could move there, and then or artillery, I believe, limbered artillery moved 9 as well. And then if you have a musket range of 12 inches, you know that you would be shooting to there, right? And then rifles shoot all the way to the end, right? Because that would be the 18 inches. 18 inches or 30 millimeters. This range I'm not sure if I would ever need that range, but I put it in there anyway, just to make it easy for people to measure from one way or the other, you know, because you could measure that and be your move, your charge, your musket range. 6 inches would be like mixed weapons. 3 inches, I do believe, is like point blank. So that's fine. But if you ever needed a single measurement, I did also put that in there. So, and I used blue and red because of Continental and the British. But and they contrast really well against each other, and I did my best to make them as accurate as possible. You know, I really got down and dirty and tried to make them very accurate, but there's going to be a few imperfections here and there based on how I painted it and how I drew the little black lines, because there's a black line around between each color, but the difference, or I should say the variation, is a fraction of a millimeter. So I mean, it's super small, so there should be no complaints about, you know, somebody shooting further than somebody else, because and I did 6 of them just in case I had 6 players on the table. Every player could have their own measuring stick. At least at Freeman's farm, there are 6 brigades. If I assigned one per player, that would be great. Because, you know, like the British have Fraser and Hamilton and Riddisel, and then the Americans have Poor, Learned, and Morgan. Yeah, so those would be, I'd be able to give each one their own stick. And in the majority of the scenarios, you're looking at about 3 brigades per side. But if I had more than 6 players, they could share. Or I could always make more, because this pack came with 20 dowels. But I just want to make sure I got those out of the way. All right, so we got our range rulers, we've got our Brunswickers, the Riddisels Brigade. Now a little bit of news. I ordered some more bases, war bases. I ordered some various lengths for my limbers. When I go to make my limbers, I want to make sure I've got the right bases before I do that. And I also went to the Osprey website and ordered Saratoga 1777. I've been told that it has a really good army list and recreation of the battle, and what I'm curious about is unit strengths, like because all the information that I'm going on is what I can find on the internet, which is actually very little, and what has been told to me via the few books that I have, and the books that I have are too high scale to concern themselves with like how many men are in Riddisell's battalion or how many men are in the 9th Infantry Regiment at Freeman's Farm. It doesn't have that level of detail. It just says the 9th was there and Riddisell was there. And so that doesn't really help. I'm trying to figure out like how many men per regiment. And I've been told that the Saratoga book from Osprey did include that information, so I ordered it. I also have army lists. So, like Warlord Games made a Black Powder army list, British Grenadier made an army list, and both of these army lists are different. They each have their own interpretation of where the terrain is, where the hills are, where the units were deployed, how many figures are in each unit, and it gets frustrating when you have conflicting information. So I think the Saratoga book from Osprey might actually be able to close some of the gaps in what actually participated at Freeman's farm. All right, now I'm thinking that I'm probably not going to be working on any American War of Independence things until I get my next run of store figures finished. So I'm going to be working on painted figures for the store, and then for my eBay store. So if you want to check out my painted figures, and I'm thinking I'm going to do some, I don't know, some vehicles, maybe World War II vehicles, some tanks, some half tracks. I'm not sure, in 28 millimeter for Bolt Action, because Bolt Action 3rd edition just came out, and so it's pretty hot right now. So I probably will do that. But other than that, that's pretty much all I had to say. Was I finished this regiment. I'm super pleased with the way it turned out. I got these finished, which they were a pain at first because I spray painted them blue, and I felt like I was wasting spray paint because you had to spray 360 along this real thin line, and I was wasting a lot of blue spray paint. So I decided to stop that and brush paint everything. So that's what I did on these guys. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming out and checking this out. And be sure to check out my eBay store. And also, if you are looking for a commission, if you need some miniatures painted for you, or if you're interested in me building some terrain, some fencing, or hills, or trees, or whatever, contact me at this email address, and I would be glad to work on it for you. All right, and I'll catch you in the next video.